Welcome back to the Unhurried and Honest podcast. Your host, Ben Ritchie, joined today with a good friend of mine, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
How are you, Scott?
I'm well. It is well with my soul, which we'll get into later.
You'll understand why we're laughing.
Yeah.
Soon enough. So today we're talking about a lot of random stuff, mental health, the church, personal struggles, helpful versus unhelpful teachings. What hope do we have in our suffering and our pain?
Yeah.
So just the lightest topics. Scott,
We only go for the lightest topics. Do you realize that?
I know.
In our conversations, we
That's
tend to
true.
just just don't go deep. Please don't go deep.
Just always talking about trivial things.
Yes.
The weather, running,
Yeah.
sports. Scott's a huge sports guy.
Huge. Who's in the Super Bowl?
They don't even know yet. So it proves the point. All right, so we will start off on a lighter note.
Yeah.
Or medium or dark. Who knows?
Oh.
Scott, what is your favorite coffee these days?
Good question. I have come to love Cala Coffee.
Cala, okay.
Yeah. The roaster is a good friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they've been roasting a coffee that they called Collab. And it is very good.
Okay.
Just the lightest bit of sweetness with a good body, and I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Light? Is it a light roast? Medium? Sounds kind of medium.
I think it's medium.
Okay. In your personal
opinion. But I could be wrong about that. I'm just like, because when we lived in Europe, I was only dark roast. Okay. The darkest of the dark roast. So anything
you needed that intensity
in America is lighter than that.
Really? Now, was that just a you thing, or is that a European thing?
It's mostly European. Like they don't
idea.
sell a lot of light and medium roasts.
Huh?
Because light tend to be Latin American.
I
think a medium African, and then Europe loved the French roast and the Italian roast, and
cool.
Oh my gosh, Hungarian roast is like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like licking the mud off of a tire. It's that good.
Wow, I need to look into that.
Yeah,
I've never had.
Oh my
something
gosh!
That dark.
I'll bring you some Hungarian coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Well, we're going to start off with hearing Scott's credentials and story, and you've got quite a life story.
Quite a life. It's been quite a life. Yeah.
So tell us briefly your story with counseling, mental health. I'm using mental health as an umbrella term.
Sure.
People define it in different ways.
Yeah.
Depression, anxiety, despair, feeling off.
Yeah.
Feeling extremely disconnected from God. There's a lot. People think a lot of different things when you hear that phrase, but it's just a concise phrase, so we're going to use it today. Okay. So anyways, tell us your journey, your life journey, how you got into counseling, maybe some of your personal struggles with mental health in general, and what you're doing today.
What do you think would be most helpful to start with something more recent, like what we've been doing recently? Or do you want to hear like, where was I born? Where did I grow up? Stuff like that. It does not have to be that.
Maybe like not all the details of your upbringing, but I feel like it would be helpful to know about like being a missionary, then counseling missionaries.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But yeah, you can talk about where you were born.
Okay. Yeah. So I was born at a very young age. It was way back when. And grew up a little bit for 5 years in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And then my parents moved to Northern Ireland. So we lived for 2 years in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah. And came back. And when we we came back from Ireland. We moved to where both my parents were from, so all the extended family in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
So I grew up from second grade on
Mm-hmm.
in St. Louis. Went to high school, went to college at first Kansas State University,
Okay.
where I became a believer through the ministry of Campus Crusade for Christ at the
Okay.
time. Now it's Cru. And the first semester of my freshman year.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. And had to transfer then because I switched majors, and they're just a big thing, but I transferred to Northeast Missouri State, which is now Truman State in Kirksville, Missouri. So graduated from that with a degree in math education. And then,
really?
Yeah. Then decided I wanted to go and be full-time with Cru and pursue a life of missions overseas.
Okay.
So, long story short, I went on a 1-year short-term mission to, at the time, West Germany.
Okay.
And lived in a little town and met my wife there, who is not German, but was also an American teaching at a missionary school, the Black Forest Academy. And so we met. Our time there overlapped by like 3 months. So nothing ever happened. We were just good friends. She left, came back to Birmingham. Actually, she was living here before then, had graduated from Samford. She came back to Birmingham to get her special ed degree from Alabama. And I realized that I missed her way more than I had missed anyone ever in my life. And so I called her up and said, "Hey, can we start dating?" And she's like, we live like 7 time zones apart. I'm like, "Yeah, but we'll make it work." So we were married within the year. So, and then
so funny.
Yeah. So then she came on staff with Cru as well. And we did 2 years at Kansas University of Kansas with Cru, and then went over to Croatia to help start the movement, the student movement there. It was right after the wall came down, and then there were wars in different countries, and so Yugoslavia was splitting up, and so Croatia was one of those former Yugoslav republics, and so we moved in '94. The war was still going on, and so we lived there during the time of war. And then in '95 that ended. We dealt with, even though we went there to start a student ministry, because of the state of the country, and most students at the time had been profoundly affected by the war. And so we found ourselves ministering to people on a much both spiritual level and mental health level because of the effects of the war. So that was really our foray into, it's like, how did we get into counseling, mental health issues, spirituality? So yeah, that was '94. So we spent many years in campus ministry in Croatia. Then we started ministry to families in '99. And so then for the next 10 years worked solely with families. And so during that time, after so we started the ministry, then we turned over the ministry to our Croatian colleagues and just worked under them for a while. And at the same time, Jane went back to school to get her doctorate in education.
Wow.
And I went back to school to get my master's in counseling. So I got a degree because we were doing it online from Croatia through a school here in America. I did not get a clinical counseling degree. I got a hybrid social work counseling degree.
Awesome.
So that was my background in that. And then after that, we found ourselves in a position where we needed some help. Jane was going through burnout after
Hmm.
the years of getting her doctorate. We had 6 young kids in the home.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to keep the ministry going.
6.
And we just found our lives were just like,
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because we were really good friends all those
Mm-hmm.
years, but we,
You and Jane.
yes,
Yeah.
there was less and less communication during the years of school.
Mm-hmm.
And we would come up, from feeling like we were so underwater with class and ministry and home life, and we'd have a 2-week break from class, and we'd come up and we were like, who are you?
Uh-huh.
And we was like, well, I don't have time to get to know you because I have to start class again in 2 weeks. So, and then we go back under and just manage life and ministry. And it's like, I think after 3 years, we lived like that. It just took a toll on our marriage, on our relationship, and on Jane's mental health. And looking back now, we can see it's like, it is incredible to see how God orchestrates things, how he works things together for good. But sometimes those good things come across in really, really painful packages. And after Jane graduated or defended her doctorate, came back, defended her work here in America at the school, and then came back to Croatia a month later. We found out that some good friends of ours, their oldest son, who we had vacationed many years together, they were missionaries on the field with us. We were just very close friends. Their oldest son, who had come back to the States to go to college, had been killed in an automobile accident. And that just threw Jane over the edge. And she just started shutting down. And our son, our eldest son, was about to leave that next summer, leave home in Croatia and come back to the States to start college. And I think the fear in her of what is God going to ask of me? What is God going to do with our son? And that just produced a lot of fear and doubts in her. And there was no one she felt she could talk with about this, because missionaries aren't supposed to have fear and doubts about is God good or not. So we found ourselves. So after I brought Tyler back to America to come back to start school at Samford. I went back to Croatia, and about a month or 2 later, we realized we need some help. And so I looked up online and found a program called the Barnabas Centrum, which helps long-term missionaries deal with any kinds of crisis, grief, pain, doubt, trauma. And so we went there and spent 9 days there, and it was life-changing.
Wow.
And it changed how we understood our pain and how we looked at engaging God in our pain. And it changed our life, in that after that, the couple who was running the program asked if we would come on board with them for a year and then take over the program at the end of the year.
Okay. I didn't know that's how it worked for y'all.
Yeah.
Wow.
So through that year, we just did a lot of discerning and asking questions and figuring out, is this what God wants for us? And so at the end of 2011, we took over the Barnabas Centrum. And at the time, it was a program that was run up in Austria. We moved it down to Croatia because that's where we had connections, we had language, we had church support. We lived there. We had permanent residence status, and so it was much easier to just move it there. And so we started running the program out of Zagreb, Croatia. And then so we have been counseling missionaries and pastors, people in full-time ministry, since 2011, and have dealt with a lot of pain, suffering, relationship hardships, team dynamics, crises, trauma, for people who are actively seeking to walk with the Lord and make His name known in a foreign land. And so, yeah, that's people who are under-resourced
for sure
when it comes to mental health
and expected to be people who don't have those problems.
Right. And it can become like, I would say that mental health, spiritual health, and emotional health are very related, but they are not the same thing. And so I don't know if you want to get into that a little bit later, or we can come back to it. But I think when we conflate that our spiritual health has to be equal to our mental health, then you can't ever admit that you're struggling with your mental, emotional health, because then people will think, well, then you're just not a spiritual Christian. You're not good because you're not believing what you say. And I would say, to that we can talk about later, but yes and no. It's like, yeah, I don't think in heaven we will have mental health issues. But we also won't have sin issues.
That's true.
And we also will know things now. I mean, things then that we don't now.
Yeah. So. And I think we'll get into it, but also it's like, I think something maybe I felt that people don't understand is like, yeah, maybe I'm not believing this promise, but like, maybe like my brain doesn't believe this promise, but like, trust me, I want more than anything to believe this promise. I would love to not feel the way that I feel.
Exactly.
So if you could, show me the magic trick and not feel this way anymore, So yeah, I feel like that's kind of a misunderstanding. Like, it's hard. You can't just create.
You can't.
It's like, oh, you're right. I'm not believing this promise. So
so let me flip that switch. And
so now I believe it.
Let's do it different. Yes.
Thank you.
It just doesn't work.
Now I'm free.
Yeah.
Maybe for some people, but talk about, or did you have anything else in that regard?
Let's see. So I would say, just to give a little bit more background, just personally, I've always known that I felt things very deeply as a child. I was so I have 3 sisters. So I was the only boy in the family. All of my family are extroverts. I was the only introvert in the family. And I was the deep, emotionally challenging child for my parents.
Same here.
And
so good friends.
Yeah. Yes, we can relate without words. So there's that feeling of I'm different than everybody. I don't fit in. I don't belong. And really realizing there's like melancholy was the first term that I ever heard that helped me understand a little bit more about my own personality. But that was, way years ago when the 4 personality types were very distinct, but there was 4 of them. And so there was not a nuance of understanding. So yeah, it's melancholy, Myers-Briggs, I'm an INFJ.
Okay.
So definitely intuitively feeling and reading the room, and then want to be sure about something before I do it. And then let's see, Enneagram type 4, I tend to relate to mostly, but there's a definite bit of 5 and intellectual, and but I tend to feel my way through to my understanding of my own thoughts.
And 4s, correct me if I'm wrong, 4s can easily feel misunderstood, or more deeply emotional,
right?
Yeah,
and easily think that everybody else feels as deeply as they do. And so when you see everyone else acting normally around you, you wonder why. how can you feel so normal when everything is this bad? And am I crazy? Am I crazy for feeling this bad?
I understand. Yeah. Not a 4, I don't think, but shades.
But highly related if you're a 1.
Yeah. Or maybe a 3.
Or maybe a 3.
Remember?
Oh, yes.
Jane.
Yeah, Jane's thinks
convinced.
You're a 3.
And we'll talk about that more.
Yeah.
Not on this podcast, but actually, I think she might be right.
Yeah.
Ever since that, I feel like it's been in my head.
Yeah.
And something will happen. I'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why that bothered me so much.
Uh-huh.
And I never would have even thought about it.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that later.
Good to understand layers of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I would add was when my family moved to Northern Ireland.
How old were you?
I was 5.
Okay.
And I had just turned 5. Mm-hmm. I don't think I was prepared for the change and the transition that it would be, and I did not understand anxiety before then, and my parents didn't grow up, but back then it just wasn't something that was easily talked about or understood, and they were trying to do their best in helping us kids get adjusted, get into school, being in a new culture, but whether it was good or bad, I don't know, but they speak basically the same language, but you don't always understand. And so I ended up just my own anxiety. I just held it in and would try to swallow it and hold it down. And finally I ended up in the hospital because my parents thought I had appendicitis because my stomach hurt so bad and they didn't know what would be causing it. So they took me into the ER. And so finally, after the doctor was poking around and doing the test for appendicitis, and it did not at all look like it was appendicitis. I remember hearing them talk about it being all in my head.
The doctors?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I did not know back then about psychosomatic symptoms of anxiety and whatever. So I interpreted it as I was making it up. Like I really wasn't. There is nothing in me that is in pain, but my head is telling me my stomach just hurts. And so for many years, I just thought anytime I was sick, I was making it up.
Wow.
And I did not know that it was stress, anxiety, and fear, basically. Yeah. But so I had lots of years of that journey as a young kid.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell us more about, I just know this from being friends with you, but recent years, some of your struggles, and I feel like a hot-ish topic is medication. So tell us kind of more in the recent years about your struggles and how you've benefited from medication.
Yeah.
Giving away the secret.
Yeah.
He benefited.
So back in 2018, all of our kids by that time had transitioned back to the States to come to college. One of our daughters was just not doing well and called us one evening and told us that she was pregnant. And so we decided even though we felt like we were in the height of ministry, feeling good about where God had us, really loved the ministry that we were being able to be a part of. She was our first concern. She was more important than making sure we have a good ministry and look good. God had done a huge work in our lives over the previous 10 years of understanding what he was calling us to and what he's asking of us. And so we decided to move back to America to be able to support her in whatever her journey was at that point, and possibly help her raise the child.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then so we moved back at the very end of 2018, so we just passed 6 years ago. But soon after we moved back, and we lived with my mother-in-law, who was living here in Birmingham, and so we moved in with her because we realized there's something going on cognitively, and so then soon after we moved back, she was tested and came back with Alzheimer's and dementia. And we thought, because she wasn't that old, that we would have many years with her. And so we were sort of preparing for a long journey of being with her and caring for her through this dementia. And so in 2020, then my father passed away. My mom and dad were still living in St. Louis. And then in 2021, Jane's mom passed away. And the week after Jane's mom passed away, we found out that a local pastor at the church that we had been going to, his wife was diagnosed with ALS. She was Jane's age, and they did not expect her to live past a few years. And then one of the guys that we were getting close to in our church community group, he passed away from COVID that summer. And then two of a missionary and a pastor who were coming to spend time with us for counseling, each were coming because they had lost their wives. And just through that summer, I just became so overwhelmed with the grief from COVID and the loss, but just the personal loss of so many people dying, and being very close to them and wanting to help and speak into the problem, and feeling like the only way that I can do that is but to shut down my own emotion about it. That's the only way I could figure out how to be there for them, which is like I've always been able to be and relate emotionally with someone without taking on too much. But I found myself I could not. And so I went to the doctor and told him about this, and he gave me an inventory, which I can appreciate that he did that. So this inventory, there were 10 questions. So you rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 in each of the questions. So you could come out with a score anywhere from 1 to 50, depending on how you rate each of the questions. The higher the number, the more likely you are that you are experiencing depression. The lower the number, the more in the mentally stable, healthy range. And I gave myself, did the test, and I came out to a 14. So I was like, well, okay, listen, I'm not depressed. I didn't think I was depressed. I just wasn't happy. I was just sad. And there's lots of stuff to be sad about, and I just thought, so I'm not depressed. I'm just sad. But Jane, when I came home from the doctor's office, and I told her what had happened and that I wasn't depressed and it was just a 14. She's like, do you think we could look at the test and maybe take it together? She's very insightful, and she's very, what's the word? Gentle in that. And, but I'm like, I know what you're doing. And, and so we took it together. And it came out to 44.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she's like, what? can we talk about the difference? And I was like, well, it depends on how I feel each day. And she's like, but Scott, the question is, in the last 2 weeks or month, how do you feel? Not just how you're feeling this morning in the doctor's office, but overall. And so it was like, okay, it's hard to be to see yourself, not just to be honest, because I wasn't trying to lie. I wasn't trying to make myself look better than I was. I was trying to be accurate, but I was when you're struggling with mental health, you don't always have an accurate read of how you're doing other than right in the moment. And I think that's one of the things I learned personally through that experience, is that when people are struggling with mental health, they may be having a great day. They may be, you may look at them and it looks like, oh, you're just normal, but they go home and the next day they can't get out of bed, or they can't stop crying, or they can't, have a rational, like, how to get through the day type of thoughts tomorrow. And so you can't just look at a 1 hour slice of someone's life and decide, are they dealing with mental health issues or not? And so what then happened was I went back and told the doctor, it's like, okay, my wife and I did this together. We came up with a 44. I think that's more accurate. And so he asked me what I wanted to do, and I had thought about it, and I said I would like to try medication. So he prescribed Lexapro for me, escitalopram, and it helped me immensely. And the first thing I realized after the first change that I saw after taking it is I started hearing music in my head again. And so I always had music going on in my head all the time, but during those months it had just stopped. And so that was the biggest, like, when I started realizing, oh my goodness, I hear music in my head again. And then I realized, oh, all the other noise is quieting down. All the questioning noise, like, what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen to Jane? What's going to happen to your family? It's like all those other noises started calming down. And there were a lot of other thoughts about comparing myself to others that I just started calming down. And I think one of the things that I knew this about medication, but it's not that you take medication and it makes you happy. It's not that. It's that it works in your brain to help provide your brain with some calm so that your brain can replenish the parts that it needs to. And that is how God made us. The wounds heal over time. They don't just immediately heal, unless it's a miracle that Jesus is doing, or anyone else. And so that can happen, but that is not the way God made our bodies to work. God made our bodies to heal over time. And the same thing is with your brain. When your brain has been fried on chemicals that are overproduced in times of stress, then for years, you need time to minimize the stress and to give your brain what the time it needs to heal itself. So that was October of 21. And what is this, January of 25? And so I'm still on Lexapro, and I feel very normal.
That's great.
Yeah. I don't feel like this. I don't feel happy-go-lucky all the time. I don't feel down in the dumps all the time. My feelings have gone back to a normal sinus pattern. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, like, in short, just because I feel like it is something people think about. In short, when should someone go for medication, and what's a situation where somebody might not should think about medication, or maybe think about medication in a different way? Maybe they think it's gonna be a miracle.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. When what's a situation where someone should think about it, and what's a situation where they shouldn't?
Yeah. I've dealt with, had been counseling people who I thought were depressed, and they did not want to go the medication route because of side effects that they decided to go in an alternate route. And what we saw was when we put in place some good talk therapy, some and coupled with a matrix of what are you doing each day to actively help your brain calm down and to provide it with space to heal.
Okay.
And so what I saw for usually in those people's lives, it was more like a year that it took for them to say, I'm starting to feel normal again. Where in my case with medication, I felt like in 6 months, from October to March, I felt very like I feel myself again. I like how I feel again. And I can interact with people even people who are going through hard things and not feel the weight of it like I had been during the time when I was depressed. So I do think there are ways that people deal with it without medication. And now I'm just talking about depression.
Yeah.
There are other things out there too. There's bipolar.
That's true. That's a broad question.
Yeah. So I would say that there are some things that I would hesitate to not take medication for, like bipolar, if you are diagnosed, because time does not heal that wound. It is not an emotional wound. It's not it is a chemical imbalance in the brain that needs a constant supply of that chemical in order for the brain to work the way it should.
Wow.
And just like a diabetic needs insulin for their body to work the way God meant it to, just because your body doesn't work the way God meant it to, doesn't mean you're in sin at all. And a lot of people think, oh, that's fine if you're talking about something medical like diabetes, but if you're talking about anxiety, your brain or your mental state or anxiety, then that's definitely caused by sin. It was like, no, it is not.
It's not. I will, and I have a question for you later that we'll dig into more of the details. But is it possible? Maybe you have a lot of habits that you were talking about, creating habits to calm down the brain. Is it possible, if you're a person who has a lot of habits that do the opposite, that could kind of overrule the effects of medication? Like if you are overstimulating yourself chronically all the time and not making any effort, but just taking a pill and hoping that'll negate the 3 hours of social media,
right?
Or the 10 horror movies. I'm just saying random stuff. But is it possible that lifestyle, the way you live your life, could mitigate any effect of medication because you're working against it?
Yes, because your lifestyle got you to the place where you were. So if you don't change, if you don't like, medication is great, but we highly recommend to every person that we say, yes, you should probably try some medication. We also say, but you cannot do it if you're not doing therapy as well. If you're not talking to a counselor, if you're not seeing someone and being able to work through what are the issues that got you here, you've got to be dealing with those at the same time.
Okay.
And so that's what, after I started on Lexapro, then a month later I started in counseling with a good therapist who just helped me talk through what were the things that were going into. And so it's very funny. It was what it came down to really was a fear of death. It wasn't a fear of my death. I did not fear death as in God will one day take me and I will die. I have no fear of that at all.
Yeah.
It's I fear people around me dying, or I feared people around me dying and having no control to protect them from it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I had no idea that's what was going on in my head during that time. So a counselor really helped me understand that and come to grips with that, and how then do I engage with God in that fear and that anxiety? Because I think we're told over and over in the Bible, do not fear, do not be anxious. That's how we interpret it. Like, you are bad if you fear. You are bad if you experience anxiety.
Yeah.
And that is not what the Bible is saying. The writers of the Bible knew that we're human and we have emotions and we fear and we are anxious. But are we taking our fears and anxiety and engaging the Lord with them? Are we taking them to Jesus and working through them with him?
Okay. Actually, you just quoted some of one of the questions I had for you.
No way.
Can I grab one of these Bibles right here?
Sure can.
Just gonna grab a random one. Let's go ESV. A lot of people read ESV. Okay. What?
No, I was just saying, what do we have up there?
Okay, so one of the questions I had for you, because this is something I've been curious about. I'm going to read a couple random passages that are in the Bible.
You're not gonna try and trick me, are you? Catch me in a...
I don't think so.
No, I'm kidding.
No, you already started. I think you kind of just gave me your answer, but I just want to talk about it because I felt it's something I've been curious about too. Let's see. Sorry, it's big old study Bible you got here.
I know. There are more study notes than Bible.
I know.
That's just the gospel. No, I'm kidding.
I'm actually reading, for the first time, I'm reading like a commentary. On every psalm. It's pretty cool.
Is it?
It took me an hour to read Psalm 2.
Oh, wow.
Part of that was because I was getting used to how the guy wrote.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But anyways, okay, Matthew 6. Let's start off with Jesus' words himself.
Okay, go Jesus.
Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food and the body more than clothing? So we all, we can all go read that. We've heard it before.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
Therefore, do not be anxious about your life. Not literally a period, but in a way. Period. Just straight up. Full stop. Don't be anxious. And then in Philippians, Paul says it at the end of, in Philippians 4, he says, do not be anxious about anything. But, and then he talks about prayer, and there's a lot more to say there. And I think that kind of goes along with what you're about to say. But, and then another one.
Don't lose your place there, because I want to return to it. When you're done. I mean, right here.
Let's
wherever you read from.
And then last one. One that, personally, that one that was, I feel like misquoted to me. Let's see. Where's Isaiah? There. Okay. We're getting there. Isaiah 26. I think it's verse 3. Okay. Isaiah 26, verse 3. You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. I remember, we'll get into more of my story as we go, but I remember I was having like really severe anxiety, incredibly big life decisions. Anyways, I won't go into all the details, but I essentially had a week when I would say my mental health struggles really took off, where I didn't sleep for like a week. There was big life decisions. Things were going crazy, just to say the least. And essentially I couldn't sleep. Literally all day. I was just, I couldn't think about anything. I was just so anxious about what was happening in my life. And, probably a well-meaning pastor of mine sent me that verse and said, you're struggling with anxiety, but here's what it says. You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. So, just keep your mind on the Lord, and he will give you this perfect peace. And I just remember feeling kind of hopeless and confused because I'm like, I mean, all I've done is like pray. I've laid awake at night praying for hours. My mind is on the Lord. You know, I've read Psalm 23 and quoted the whole thing. I've, you know, got it memorized and I've said it 100 times. But there's no perfect peace. You know, so, you know, what are these verses saying? What are they not saying? Is it that simple? Don't be anxious. Okay, but what if you are a person who wishes more than anything they were not anxious? And what if you're a person who is trying to keep your mind on the Lord? Maybe you're praying all the time, and the trick isn't working. What are you, just defective? Are you so deeply in sin? You have so many idols of your heart that it's almost impossible to overcome because you're so anxious, and Jesus just says, "Hey, Scott, don't be anxious." Or is it saying something else?
Yeah. I believe it is saying something else because I don't think Jesus just said, "Stop it." You know? If Jesus were saying, "Stop it," and he meant that by stopping it, it could actually work. We could then be not anxious. For what would we need Jesus? If we could just stop it. It's like, we don't need Jesus. I think that's why we need Jesus, is because like I have the hardest time stopping myself from fearing or feeling anxiety or that agitation that comes up when you don't know what a situation is coming up and you don't know how you're going to handle it and you don't know if you'll do good or bad or if you'll blow it or come out fine. And I think that's the anxiety is, I don't know how the future is going to play out. And so what's going to happen to me? Do you have a working definition of anxiety? Like, do you have a good, how you've come to think about anxiety as you experience it?
I wouldn't say I have a good working definition. I feel like one guy I talked to one time, now I don't even know how he defined it, but he talked about maybe the words in the Bible that are used for anxiety aren't describing the chemical process of anxiety. It's like you may just have a lot of anxiety chemicals going on in your brain and you can't just stop them. I mean, obviously, Jesus provides a lot of help. And what he says later in these verses are things to meditate on that can help to a degree, but they're not going to all of a sudden just cut off. You can't just stop the feeling.
Right. Because you can't
what's yours? Yeah.
chemically stop the what's going on in your body. You can take control of your thoughts. Like, I think Paul is pretty clear in saying we can take captive every thought process to the obedience of Christ. And I think I interpret that to mean I may have these thoughts that are spinning and they're not true thoughts, and they're leading me to either beliefs or consequences or actions that would not be honoring to God. So if I take those captive to the obedience of Christ, it means I consider what is true about this. What do I believe from his word about this? And how can I engage Jesus in this? So I've come to think about it in terms of, I'm never going to stop being anxious or feeling anxiety when a situation calls for it. Like, we have a grandson who's autistic, and we were here at our house, and for a half an hour we could not find him. And the anxiety going up is like, yes, we were asking the Lord all the time, like through that half hour, Lord, please help us find him. Lord, please keep him safe. Lord, please help us to know what to do, where to look, where to go. We were praying through that time. But the anxiety is, what if he had made it out to the street and gotten hit by a car? What if he had wandered into a neighbor's yard and fallen in a pool? What if?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you say God will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on him, does not mean nothing bad had happened to our grandson. And in those 30 minutes, we did not know. So there was anxiety. There was deep anxiety.
Yeah.
And so there are situations where it is natural, normal, and you're going to feel anxious. It's what do we do in those moments with our anxiety? Do we turn to the Lord and ask him to help us find our grandson, help us protect him from harm, whatever it is that we're praying for? Does that automatically shut down the body's reaction to not knowing what is happening? And it does not, and it cannot.
But what do you do with that?
Yes, because that's the way God made our bodies. So what do we do with that?
If we can't stop the feeling,
right?
So Jesus says, "Don't be anxious," but
yeah,
maybe he's not talking about the feeling of anxiety,
right?
Because we can't just pray hard enough to get rid of the anxiety.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What is he saying?
So I think what he's saying, I think, is he's asking each of us, can we, in this micro situation, trust him that he is still in control, does know what's happening, can see our grandson where he is, and whether or not something that we would term bad happened to him, can we trust him through that process? And the thing is, like, death is a part of life. We don't like it, but that doesn't make it not a part of life. Death, until we reach heaven, until Jesus returns, death is always going to be among us. People who turn away from God are always going to be with us. So there will always be the effects of people who are not walking with God having control or being able to do what they want apart from God. The effects are always going to be with us. So is this world, it's that, how do we navigate when good things happen or bad things happen to good people? Why is there evil in the world? So how do we deal with the pain and suffering? And in those moments, though, I'm trying to think, like, to give you a completely honest and accurate answer of, in those moments when we were searching, there was a sense of pleading with God and feeling like I have to plead really hard to get God to listen to me. And one of the things I felt, I don't know how you like to say, like, did you hear God? Did you feel God? Did God speak to you? But it was like, okay, I sensed this message coming to my head
in some way.
Scott, you don't have to plead with me for me to hear you. I hear you. Like, that was the first thing. And that started my anxiety going down. Is that true, that God hears us when we pray? Yes. I think if we ever hear, like, I don't hear voices in my head, but I do get I do get senses. I think of things in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing we have to do is we have to test it against scripture. Is like, is this something that God has said in his word and that I can count on as a promise from him? It's like, I will listen to you. And it's like, yes, it's all over the Psalms. It was like when his children pray to him, he hears our prayers. So that was the first thing that brought my anxiety down. It's like, okay, the truth is God hears me. He is he loves my grandson even more than I do. So whatever has happened to him, will he care for him? Yes, he will. So it's like, okay. So then that brought the anxiety down even more. So then I could start like thinking more clearly, wait, what is going on? What is most likely? Where could Adrian have gone? And we had been talking about going to the store. And while I was getting the other grandson ready to go, Adrian had gotten his coat and his shoes and got out and gotten in the car. And he was sitting out in the car.
Patiently waiting.
We never looked in the car. We looked all over the yard, the pool, the street, the house, everywhere else, but did not look in the car. But he was in fact doing what he thought he should be doing. I was like, oh, okay. But it was like when our brains are anxious, it's really hard to think straight. It's really hard to think clearly because there's that fight, flight, or freeze is going on. And we were in such a fright. Yeah. So when we could, as I started praying and the anxiety started coming down, I could think more clearly and think about, what might be going on here. And thankfully it wasn't a bad outcome.
He was ready to go.
But my goodness, half an hour, it seemed like an eternity.
A long time. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like I remember something else we've talked about before as you're talking about this. We're talking about, it's not necessarily about stopping a feeling.
Yeah.
It's about engaging with God.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the scriptures actually say, the more you read.
Yeah. Because if you read before, he says, therefore, do not be anxious about what you will put on, what you'll wear, what you'll eat. It's like, what did he say before then? He's talking about his, how are we to relate to the Father? How did he bring the message of truth to us? He brought it in person. It's like he didn't give us just simply a book to relate to. He always gave his message through people. And then finally in his son, as Hebrews says, before God sent his message in the prophets and the people beforehand, and now he's engaging you in his son.
Yeah.
And that personal connection, I think, also helps lower anxiety. That's the other thing I was going to say. So what do you do with anxiety? You engage with people. You have to get out of your head.
Don't hide it. And because also what I was like, I remember you told me one time, I feel like something, at least I've heard in church, in awesome churches that we've been a part of, is like, hey, your emotions don't tell you the truth. So don't listen to them. Just listen to God's word. There's a lot of truth in that. Like, we need God's word desperately, but I thought you helped me a lot of like, no, listen to your emotions. Don't believe everything they tell you, but we have anxiety, even the negative stuff. We have anxiety and sadness and anger for a reason. Like, it's not a effect of sin in the world that we feel anger sometimes. Obviously, a lot of anger is sin, and a lot of anxiety may be to not trusting in God. But you helped me, and I think that's kind of what these scriptures are saying is like, don't worry about stopping the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm feeling really anxious about finances,
Mm-hmm.
for example.
Yeah.
How am I going to pay rent? Or how am I ever going to save up for this, that, or the other?
Yeah.
Okay, don't just say, Ben, you shouldn't be anxious. Jesus said not to, so quit it. More like,
Yeah.
okay, Jesus then talks about how valuable we are to God. Or like Paul talks about in thanksgiving and supplication,
Mm-hmm.
which I can't define supplication for you in this moment, but just giving things to God, being with God. Jesus gives us these promises that we're more valuable than the birds, that we're more valuable than the flowers of the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just stuffing the feeling
Mm-hmm.
and trying to act like it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
It's already there. Just admit that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
What is making me anxious? Why is this making me anxious? Let's look at like that God is in control, in short, and that God loves us, that Jesus came and suffered with us. So I feel like we're talking about the same thing there, but you reminded me of something else you told me before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay to listen to your emotions.
It is.
But I feel like sometimes in church we're kind of taught to, if a bad emotion arises, you know you're not supposed to have it. Mm-hmm. So stop it. Uh-huh. Personally and in community. Mm-hmm. But like, it's already there.
Yeah.
If you're sinning by being angry, you're already sinning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, just admit it.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it in community. It's already there. I feel like, but it's hard because we're prideful. We don't want to admit we have issues. But it's like, you're already anxious. Mm-hmm. So personally, don't stuff it, and in community, don't stuff it. It's there whether you hide it or not.
Right.
So you might as well talk about it.
Might as well talk about it.
Because like you said, like once you figure out, okay, why do I feel this way? It may be embarrassing. Like, why am I so anxious about this situation? Mm-hmm. It may be embarrassing when it's like, oh man, I've like seen God provide in so many ways before. Yeah. Why in the world would this make me anxious? It's like a good embarrassing though, because it can lead you to recognize, okay, now I got it. Yeah. I don't need to be. I've seen him work in this way, but that's way more helpful than saying I shouldn't be. Jesus said not to be. Right. Full stop. I am not anxious anymore.
Stop it.
Because you're really not addressing the problem.
Yeah.
Anyways.
You're not.
So
and that's the essence of the matter.
Yeah. So I like how you said like engaging with God. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what these scriptures are more so saying. Right. Like, let's talk with God. Remember the promises of God. Yeah. And don't expect it. Maybe if you're really in the middle of an attack, it's not a magic trick. Right. Yeah. You're not just gonna be able to quit it. Right. In a day. Right. Or in a moment. No. And I think something I want to say is like, there is hope for you if you can't quit it in a moment. Because I feel like sometimes we've talked about this too. It's like that we're preaching on anxiety today in the church. And by the end of this sermon, you probably shouldn't feel anxious anymore. Right.
All your questions will be answered, and you'll finally have that whatever you need to stop being anxious.
Yeah. You got that quote.
Yeah.
And now you know how not to be anxious. Right. But if you are someone like me and probably Scott, who's gone to church and heard a sermon, or at least part of a sermon on anxiety or depression, and you don't really feel better afterward, even though you agree with what was said, and there was probably helpful things said, and it didn't do this trick for you, there is still hope for you. And that's something I really want to get across, is like, you are not defective to the point where God's not helping you. Right. It just, our bodies, the way God created us, we're not fixed by a 30-minute sermon. So if you go to church feeling anxious, or you go look up a podcast or a sermon, and it doesn't do the trick, and you don't feel better, or if you even pray about it for a day and you don't feel better, there is hope for you. Even if you're really, really struggling, there is still hope for you. Yeah. If you have anything to add
to that, no, that was well said.
Well, thank you. Let's check the time. We've already burned through. That's like the first
Coming back
question.
for part 2?
Yeah, I know. I have to.
I'm sorry.